Just after midnight, a Soviet satellite blinks awake over the dark side of Earth. Its alarm flashes red. A missile launch. Origin, United States. Trajectory, Moscow. Threat probability, maximum. Protocol, instant retaliation. Deep underground, in a bunker the government denies exists, one man holds the phone that could end the world. And he has seconds to decide if humanity lives or dies. His name is Stanislav Petrov. "40 years ago, the world came closer to nuclear war than most people will ever realize. Not because of a politician, not because of a general, but because of a scientist. A quiet, stubborn engineer who refused to believe the machines he helped build. To understand why his decision mattered, you have to travel back to one of the most paranoid eras in human history, the early 1980s. The Cold War was no longer cold. It was feverish. The Soviet Union had deployed a new generation of nuclear missiles across Eastern Europe. The United States responded with its own arsenal, faster, deadlier, more unpredictable. Both sides built weapons capable of erasing cities in seconds. And both sides believed the other was preparing a surprise attack. Every diplomat's visit, every unusual weather balloon, every training exercise could be interpreted as the spark that ignites the apocalypse. Inside the Kremlin, one fear dominated all others. The Americans will strike first. It wasn't theory, it was the official expectation. And in September 1983, the fear reached its peak. Earlier that month, a Korean air passenger plane accidentally drifted into Soviet airspace. Fighter jets intercepted it. They mistook the aircraft for an American spy mission and fired. 269 civilians died. The world was horrified. The Soviets were humiliated. Washington was enraged. And every alarm, every intelligence report, every satellite reading felt like it could be the beginning of something irreversible. In other words, the worst possible moment for a glitch. This is the world Stanislav Petrov stepped into when he boarded a small minibus heading to a classified base south of Moscow. He wasn't supposed to be on duty that night. He was filling in for a colleague. Petrov wasn't the typical soldier. He was an engineer. Quiet, analytical, sometimes sarcastic, the kind of man who preferred equations over medals. He had 2 children, a modest salary, and an entire secret life he wasn't allowed to discuss with anyone. Not even his wife knew what he really did in that bunker. And he intended for the night to be uneventful. 4 slow hours passed. Then, at 12:15 a.m., everything changed. The alarm sirens erupted. A massive red word appeared on the central screen. Launch. A single American missile heading toward the Soviet Union. Petrov froze for a second. Then his training took over. He grabbed the microphone. "Everyone to positions. Report any anomalies." His operators scrambled. Technicians checked every system. There was no radar confirmation yet, but the algorithm, one he helped write, calculated 100% certainty. To the Soviet command, this could only mean one thing. The United States had begun a nuclear strike. Petrov stared at the screen. One missile. Just one. No one starts a nuclear war with one missile, he muttered. It didn't make sense. If America truly wanted to annihilate the Soviet Union, they'd launch hundreds, thousands, not one lonely warhead cutting through the black sky. But his hesitation was dangerous. Protocol demanded an immediate report. One phone call would set the retaliation in motion. And Soviet retaliation meant American retaliation. And American retaliation meant, you know how that story ends. Then the screen flashed again. A second missile. Then a third. A fourth. A fifth. 5 missiles inbound. If the first detection felt strange, 5 felt terrifyingly plausible. Petrov's heart hammered. His palms were sweating. Even the air in the bunker seemed to vibrate. Operators looked at him, terrified, waiting. If he said the words confirmed attack, the Soviet Union would launch everything it had, and the United States would respond in kind. Petrov later said the moment felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, unable to see the ground below. He had to choose. Trust the machines or trust his instincts. Petrov chose instinct. He told command it was a false alarm. No evidence, no proof, no guarantee he wasn't making the deadliest mistake in human history. And then, all he could do was wait. 17 silent minutes. 17 minutes in which any moment could bring the bright white flash that ends civilization. And then, nothing. No impact, no mushroom clouds, no end of the world.
Months later, an investigation uncovered the truth. It wasn't a missile. It wasn't 5 missiles. It wasn't an attack. It was sunlight. A rare alignment of the sun, the earth, and high-altitude clouds had tricked the satellite sensors. A glitch, one nobody had predicted, had created the illusion of a nuclear launch. A coincidence, a freak occurrence, a cosmic mirage, and only one man had refused to believe it. Petrov wasn't rewarded. He wasn't celebrated. He wasn't embraced as a hero. He received a reprimand for incorrectly filling out paperwork during the incident. The military quietly pushed him aside. Within a year, he left the service. He spent the next decade in a small apartment outside Moscow, caring for his sick wife, living on a modest pension. He rarely talked about that night. Not because he was hiding something, but because he didn't think he had done anything extraordinary. He once said, "I was just doing my job." But of course, it was more than that. Years later, after the Soviet Union collapsed, his story finally leaked to the West. Journalists tracked him down, awards followed, documentaries were made. But by then, Petrov was older, tired, and disillusioned. He never became wealthy. He never gained political influence. He never sought fame. He lived, he said, with only one comfort. The world is lucky it was me sitting there that night, and not someone who always obeys orders. Today, the doomsday clock ticks closer to midnight than ever before. Treaties are dissolving. Superpowers are rearming. The same satellites still watch the skies, and the same machines still calculate probabilities. But machines don't understand fear, or courage, or responsibility. Petrov did. He reminded the world of something simple and terrifying. You can build 1,000 missiles. You can build systems to launch them in seconds. You can create computers that decide life or death faster than any human ever could. But in the end, humanity's survival still comes down to a single human decision. And one quiet man in one forgotten bunker on one September night made the right one.